Hi everybody, my name is Ambika and I'm here to discuss the part 2 of determiners. In that we will discuss demonstratives, right? But before beginning with our session, I want to tell each one of you about Unacademy. First of all, this is the app where you can get in touch with India's best top educators, right? So they are just a mouse click away. Go and download this app. It is available, easily available on Play Store. You can download the app and irrespective of what you, I mean, it is beginning from grade 9 till, there is no limit for Unacademy for different courses which they offer, right? So whichever suits you, whichever course I mean suits you, should apply for that. And in that, you can use the code AMBIKA to get special discount on it, right? So you can avail the code, and with that, discount will be yours, right? With this, let's begin with the session. So this is like in continuity with the articles, right? So I have begun with the introduction of articles, and post that we have discussed the different types of articles, where exactly we use it, where exactly we can't use it, right? So here's the example. Have you seen my bag? Where is the box? Look at those cute dogs, right? So the words like the, those, and my, they are the determiners, right? So now the question arises, why are they called as determiners? Because any word which comes before the noun, right, which about the words determiners basically talk about, it determines the noun. And you know the nouns, right? They are like name, place, animal, thing, common noun, proper noun, abstract noun, right? So any determiners are basically used to define nouns more clearly. It basically determines the nouns, right? So in the previous example, the nouns were bag, box, and dogs. Okay, remove cute from there for time being because that is an adjective. I will tell you how before adjectives also we can use determiners, but for time being, let's just check out the two examples. Have you seen my bag? Where is the box? Right? So my and the determines, right? It signifies what are we talking about? It is specifically talking about the nouns. Bag, box, and dogs are nouns. Here, the definition. Determinants are words which come at the beginning of the noun phrase. As I've already told you, that it comes initially just before the noun phrase. It tells us whether the noun phrase is specific or general. So by specific or general, what do we mean? We mean that if we are very particular, when we are very clear what are we talking about, that means we are going way too specific, right? And in general means, it can be anything. As if let's just say the listener, the reader doesn't know about it, right? So we are talking about the particular noun in a very general context. For example, if I say that okay, so let's check out the example of a bag, okay? Um, there's a bag. So you don't know about which bag I'm talking about, right? We have no clue. Is it a duffel bag? Is it a purse? Is it what? Like it's a wallet? Is it a traveling bag? Like we have no clue about it, right? So I'm talking about a bag, and you already come to know that it is a very general way I'm speaking about it. But when I say that it is a bag of Zara or of Louis Vuitton, so I'm going very specific with it, like it is the bag, okay? So I'm talking about one specific bag. It can be of either the two brands which I've already told you, right? That means you already know about which bag I am talking about. Here, they are either specific or general. So the noun which we will going to speak about, in front of it, they will be either specific or general. Or we can say that they tell us whether we are talking about things in general or in particular. So by simply using determiners, one can easily identify, are we talking about a very general thing, or are we going way too specific or particular with our idea. Okay. Now, specific determiners, as I have already told you, that it is something about which the listener or the reader knows beforehand, right? Here's an example. Can you pass me the pen? So the pen with which maybe you're writing. I'm asking about that particular pen. That is why I have used here the pen. General determiners are the determiners about which the listener or the reader has no clue. They have not heard it before. Here's an example. A man came this evening and left a carton, right? So, a man. We don't know who this man is. Along with that, we have no clue about which carton the person is speaking about, right? So, here we have used a man because, again, as I've told you, we don't know who this man is and it is a carton, right? So, we have no clue which carton are we talking about. Right now, as I have discussed in the previous session also, that there are different types of determiners. They are articles, possessives, demonstratives, distributives, quantifiers, and interrogatives. Clear? We have, if you will check out the previous lecture, it was an article, and today this lecture will revolve around the topic demonstrative. But as in the previous lecture, I have discussed in detail about articles. That there are two set of articles. There are definite and indefinite articles. As the word clearly shows, definite is something about which we are very clear, we are very particular. For that, you will going to use the, and for indefinite articles, you will going to use the and n. Right? Now, to get a deep and a more understanding of the topic articles, do check the previous video. Now, let's begin with demonstratives. Look at that storm. Okay? I want a pair of those gloves. Do you like these flowers? So, if you have checked these examples, the words like look at that. Okay, first of all, where's a noun? Storm is a noun, right? So, what we know about determiners, that determiners do come before the noun. That we already know now. So, look at that storm. Storm here is our noun, and that is definitely going to be our determiner. Okay. I want a pair of those gloves. Here, I want a pair of those gloves. So, gloves are here the noun. The word which comes just before the noun, they are called as determiner. So, that is those here is our determiner. Next, you like these flowers. Okay, so flowers are the noun and the word which comes just before it, that is called as determiner. But now we want to know in detail what sort of determiners are these. So demonstrative can refer to a physical or a psychological closeness or distance with an object, event, person with the speaker. So demonstratives actually talk about the, maybe it is a physical distance or the psychological closeness or distance with any of the object, with any of the event, with any of the person, and in the context of the speaker. So whosoever is speaking, I'm repeating, it is whosoever is speaking, it is supposed to be in the context of that. The demonstratives refers to the physical or a psychological closeness or distance with an object, event, person with the speaker. When talking about events, the near demonstratives are often used to refer to the present, while the far demonstratives often refer to the past. Now, when we talk about events, mind my words, I'm saying when we are talking about events, it's happening, any event which is taking place, right? So the near demonstratives are used to refer to the present time, like we are talking about the present scenario, right? And the far demonstrators, we will come to know what are near demonstrators and far demonstrators. First of all, let's just understand the. I mean, you need to keep these two words in mind. That is near and far. Okay. So near demonstrators are often used to refer to the present, while the far, the word itself clearly shows that it is talking about something which is far, like which is not close to you, right? So while the far demonstrators often refer to the past, something which has already taken place, right? Now, here's certain examples. Let's just check it out. What we call as near to the speaker and far from the speaker. Okay. is this Jason's car, right? So that means you are standing next to Jason's car, right? And you are asking somebody that is this Jason's car, right? That means you are standing or you are close by to the car. And whose car? Jason's car, right? Far from the speaker. Is that Jason's car over there, right? So there's a car which is far from you, right? And you are asking, you are wondering, is that Jason's car over there? Are we getting it? When it is closer to the speaker, when something is very close to me, I will say this, right? But when it is far, I will say that. Clear? Take an example. Okay. These fruits are mine. So something which are like maybe lying very close to me. Okay, they are like almost next to me. So I will say these fruits are mine. For example, I am, let's just say, sitting on a couch and on the dining table there are a basket of fruits. So I will say those because they are far from me. There, I will say those fruits are yours. Make sense? Right? Okay. Next example. What are you up to these days? So you are speaking to somebody and you are talking about the recent happening, like almost, something what is happening in the present scenario. So you have said, what are you up to these days? Next is, those days are long gone. Here, so the days which are not there, I mean, we're talking about the past event. So those days are already gone. That means they are far from the in the context that we are talking about the past event or the past activity. Next, this time I won't be late. Okay, so you are talking about something which is like just is going to happen in a very near future, right? So this near future, I'm using the word near future. This is like very close to you. That is why we have said this time I won't be late. Here it is. This time I won't be late. Here, if something is far from the speaker, it will be we really surprised you that time. So you are speaking with somebody and you are telling that person that you remember that time when we surprised you. Right. So let's just say it was somebody's birthday and you surprised the person. So you are talking about the bygone time, talking about the event which took place in the past. This sugar is for tea. So you must be offering somebody a cup of tea, right? And you're just telling that person that this sugar. So there must be a bowl of sugar or sugar cubes, whatever suits you, right? So it is like very close to you, and you are addressing to the speaker, the listener. I mean that you are supposed to use these sugar cubes or this handful of sugar in your tea. What did you say? You said this sugar is for my tea. Here, because this bowl of sugar is lying adjacent to you, it's lying next to you, it's very close to you. Next, you can use that sugar for your baking. Clear? It is. You can use that sugar for your baking. Here, so, for example, there's a whole box or a whole packet of sugar which is lying in the shelf of the kitchen. So you are telling the somebody that I have already bought a packet of sugar for you, and that is lying exactly that is lying on the top shelf of the cupboard. Okay. So what did we do? We are talking about something far from. Are we clear? It is you can use that sugar for your baking. Right. So demonstratives, they have a pointing function to perform. They point at which time we spoke about something or are we planning to speak about something. Right? It shows the physical or psychological distance with the speaker or to the listener. Right? It is pointing out the action. Now, demonstrative is taken from the Latin word, meaning is the word is demonstratives. It means pointing out or demonstrating. That is something like you're pointing out. You're literally pointing out that this is mine, that is yours. Right? Those were those days were really fun, something like that. You're pointing out. You're pointing out on those days. You're pointing out on that bag. Okay? Next is, there are four demonstratives in English. The near demonstratives are this and these, and far demonstratives are that and those. Here, there are four demonstrators in English. I'm repeating. Near demonstrators. Near demonstrators are something which are closer to us, right? They are this and far demonstratives are that and those. Here, nothing to worry about. We will understand these in detail. Okay, this and that are singular and are used with uncountable nouns. Right? So, as I have already told you in the previous lecture, the difference between countable and uncountable nouns, right? If you can put one, two, three before any of the nouns, it is called as countable noun, right? If you cannot put one, two, three in front of it, you definitely an uncountable noun. For example, I cannot say um I want three, let's just say three salt. Okay, we say I want pinch of salt, I want spoon of salt, right? We try to measure it in another object. Okay, that is something which is called as uncountable noun. For example, we can say like there were five mice, there were like seven cows, something like that. So they are called as plural nouns. Now this and that are used with singular uncountable nouns. See, you don't need to memorize this. It's very simple. We cannot say sugar, not say salt, okay? Not say rices, R-I-C-E. We cannot say that. Anything which is having singular countable nouns, we are supposed to use this and that. Otherwise, if they are plural, we have to use these and those, right? Now, near determiners, that is this and these, refers to persons or objects close by, which is very close to us, right? So that is this and this is this is going to be used with singular noun, and these will going to be used with plural noun. Clear? Now, this is going to be used with singular noun, I'm repeating, and these with plural noun. This video, right? Video is here a very singular thing we are talking about, right? It is obviously a noun here, and before this we have used here this, okay? That is a determiner, and what's a determiner? That is a demonstrative, okay? So this video contains all the information we need. Clear? This video contains all the information we need, right? Video here is a singular object, a singular noun. That is why we have used here this. Next, these earrings are for you. Okay, earrings are plural. They are going to be earrings, I believe, right? Although single earrings are also in fashion, but then okay, let's go very traditional here. So herein we have earrings. S, that is plural. That is why we have used here these earrings. There. Now, that and those. That and those refer to persons or objects at a distance. Children, I don't really think that we have to recall it, we have to memorize it, because these are the words which we usually use. The words which we usually use while speaking. So you already know it. I mean, it is just that we are brushing up whatever we know, right? That is the singular noun, and those are going to be used with plural nouns, right? As okay, for example, we can make a trick over here, like those. There's obviously the sound of plural in it, but it cannot go with this, I believe. It's okay. With these and those, we can say that they are going to be used with plural nouns, like because there's a sound of S, which is plural. Okay, I mean that's my trick. You can make your own trick for that. Okay, that hotel belongs to my uncle. Again, that hotel. So you are standing far away from the place and you are telling somebody, that hotel, which you can see from here, that belongs to my uncle. Again, it is Hotel, right? So it will going to be silent. It is going to be called as hotel. Clear? Next, those bikes are for sale, right? It is those bikes are for sale. So you are standing at a distance, you are pointing out towards those bikes which are being kept there, and you are telling somebody that those bikes are for sale, right? So this and that can be used before uncountables also, right? This soil is not fertile. As we already know, we cannot count one soil, two soil, three soil. That is an uncountable noun. So we can use this and that with uncountable noun also. That tree bears beautiful blue flowers. Here, now, another thing, there is the demonstrative pronouns also. So we might get confused, like is it demonstrative talking in the context of determiners, or is it like those demonstratives which are talking in the context of pronouns, right? So that query will be solved here also, nothing to worry about. First of all, the question arises, what is a pronoun? A pronoun is a word which replaces, like which just kills, which just removes noun or another pronoun. So pronoun are used in place of noun or another pronoun. That is something which we know, right? If we need to eliminate, because you don't want to say somebody's name every now and then, you can't say like Kate. Okay, you can't say Kate, 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 Kate. Kate is a beautiful girl. Kate is in school. Kate goes for a walk every morning. So if you don't want to speak it that way, how do we eliminate? We use her, right? We use she. So we are using those pronouns, right? So we have removed the word Kate from there, that is a noun, and we have replaced it with the pronouns. That is all we know about pronouns, right? Now, is that these and those are also the demonstrative pronouns. I know I just told you that they are determiners and that too demonstratives, but and that too demonstrative determiners. But herein we have the same, and they are same as a part of pronouns. For example, look at that. Okay, I want a pair of those. So we don't know. I mean, you're pointing out at something, but there is no noun attached to it, right? That is why we have just said, look at that. Here and repeat. Okay, I just said, look at that. Okay, that's what I said. Now there is no noun attached to it. Okay, so it is definitely a pronoun. Next one, I want a pair of those. So you are pointing out it's something. Like for example, we are shopping somewhere, and I am just pointing it towards something. I'm saying I want those, right? So you don't know what I'm talking about, right? But I pointed out it's something. So I have replaced a noun. For example, I want those beautiful pair of jeans, right? So I have just pointed out towards those denims which are being kept there, but right, but I have not used the word pair of jeans or denims, right? Instead of that, I just said those. So pair of jeans or denims replaced by pronoun. Here now. So whereas pronoun replace nouns, determiners introduce them. We have to keep this in mind while solving up the questions, because there will be questions related to this, right? So whereas pronoun, what is the job of pronoun? That they replace nouns, but determiners introduce them. Clear? They introduce them. What sort of noun we are talking about? In what context we are saying? Now, here's a series of questions, like hardly 7 8 questions are there. You have to identify, are they pronouns or determiners, because they both are demonstratives for sure. But you have to help me out in getting in pitching, like is it a pronoun or is it a determiner, right? So are you all ready? Shall we begin? Here's the first question. This movie is interesting. I'm repeating. It says this movie is interesting. Right. So movie is what? Is a noun, right? Any let's just say determiner or yeah, any determiner which comes before the noun which determines the noun is going to be either an article or a demonstrative for a time being. Okay, this is definitely a demonstrative. And what's a demonstrative? Determiner. Here, how did we come to this conclusion? Because it is there's a word that is this, that, those, these, right? In that, if they are coming just before the noun, we will going to point them as determiners. This is definitely an example of a determiner, right? It has nothing to do with me or my family, right? Sorry, that has nothing to do with me or my family. After that, is there any noun? Has is not a noun, right? Nothing is not a noun. Directly, family is a noun here. So it is going to be a pronoun. Clear? Are we clear till now? Right? You're getting it, how we are doing it. What we are checking if there is a adjacent noun, right? You will going to call that as a determiner. Otherwise, it will fall under the category of pronoun. That plan is crazy. Okay, it says that that plan is crazy. So plan is your, right? It is our noun, and anything which comes before a noun is a determiner. Clear? Next, here's a copy of the recipe. You please read this, right? Reading is definitely a verb, an action. You're doing something. It is not a noun, right? So this will definitely going to be a pronoun. Clear? Right? If it would have been book, instead of read. So we would have right here the answer determiner. Here, I did, oops, the answer is already there. Okay, I didn't ask for, right? I didn't ask for these. It is not coming before the noun, as these is definitely our demonstrative, but there is no noun attached, right? That is why we will going to put this under the category of a pronoun. Here, right. Now, these chocolates are delicious. Okay, it says these chocolates are delicious. Clear? So chocolates are definitely noun. If any such word comes before it, that will be called as determiner, right? So these here are our determiners. Are we clear? Next, your notes are boring. Read these instead, right? Now, read is definitely an activity. It is a verb, right? So it will going to be a clear example of pronoun. Here, your notes are boring. Read these instead, right? So, read here is a verb. Clear? Because it's an activity, it's an action which we are doing. So, if it is coming just before it, or let's just say read, so we have definitely the answer will going to be pronoun. Yes, the answer is already popped up. Okay. I met her on a rainy afternoon in August. That was the best day of our lives, right? So it is saying that. You see that there, right? I met her on a rainy afternoon in August. That was the best day of our lives. There is no noun, right, which is adjacent to the determiner or to the word, right, to the demonstrative. That is why it is going to be a clear example of pronoun, right? Next, those children are enjoying the party, right? So children, clear example of noun, right? So it will going to fall under the category of a pronoun or a determiner. Right, determiner. Clear? The chips I brought are fresh. Those are stale. Right? The chips I brought are fresh. Those are stale. Right? So we don't have a noun here. So the answer will going to be pronoun. Clear? Next, I will never miss this. Okay, it says I will never miss this. So answer is definitely pronoun. Why? Because missing is an activity. You have done an action. There. So this will going to be a very clear example of pronoun. Next, those aren't for him, right? It says those aren't for him. Here. So the answer is because aren't is definitely not a noun, for is definitely not a noun, and him, no, right? Because it's a pronoun, right? Those aren't for him. It's example of a pronoun. Clear? Now, with this, I'm signing off. I hope you all enjoyed the lecture on demonstratives. As you have already seen, we have discussed about the difference between demonstratives and that too what are demonstratives with determiners and the demonstratives with pronouns. We have checked out many questions on the basis of that, right? So I hope you enjoyed the video, all right? And you, as you already know, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have to subscribe to our channel, that is Unacademy, and you can use our my code, that is AMBIKA. All right.